Hello everyone, welcome back. Now in the last episode there was a bit of a little controversial thing going on where the city of El Samir did not want to repay the debt of the huge new highway, so they claim independence, and now in this video we need to build a new border crossing. Now you might be thinking, well, if they didn't want to pay the debt, how come they are happy to pay all this money on a new border crossing? But I think the border crossing is going to be significantly cheaper than a huge mega highway construction with tunnels and pretty much everything you could want in a highway. So the border crossing, we're going to do it right here. At the moment I don't have the roads connected because in the last episode I disconnected the roads, so there wasn't any traffic going through there because, as I said, they shut down the roads connecting to Al Samhara, the capital city area. But in this episode everything's going to be reconnected, everything's going to be working, and you'll notice there's going to be a lot of traffic at the end of the video coming back into Al Samir. Now one thing, I'm just going to make this very clear from the start that there should technically be two border crossings. So there should be one actually on this island right there where I was pointing, where I'm putting this down here. So when they leave Al Samir and enter back into Al Samhara, there should be a border entrance for them, right? So we're not going to build that one in this episode. I'll build that one whenever I eventually get around to developing that island a little bit more. But in this episode, we're doing the entrance coming into Al Samir and the exit for leaving Al Samir. So there's going to be probably an 8-lane road for them to come in, and then when they're leaving there's going to be, I think it's 3 or 4 lanes for them to go back out. And we're going to use some assets that are a little bit different from the other border crossing that I did. That's the crossing on the mainland over where Al Samir meets Berjazir. So that one is quite large. We're not going to do that one as big. So this one a little bit smaller, but I still wanted to do a proper area. So I put up a bit of a seawall there just so we can utilize this space a little bit better, and I've lowered the elevation as well. So we're going to be using these ones. I'll put them in my asset list below. Of course, like everything, these ones are actually toll roads, but I mean that's as close as we can get to actually having some type of border crossing. The cars don't actually stop through here, they just slow right down. One thing I did forget to do in this video, and you'll notice this at the end when you see everything completes, the speed limits are still quite fast. I completely forgot to adjust the speed limits, so ignore that at the end. So keeping it in the theme with the other border crossing that I made, I want to do a separate area where trucks can go in, and then only trucks can use that space, because in my opinion trucks will take a bit longer. They got to inspect everything, and I think that's what they do usually at borders. They have a special area for trucks to go through, and then the other part, so you can see we've got the left side which is for the trucks, the right side with all the big lanes, that is for pretty much everything else. But I will make one lane specifically for buses, which will be the left lane in the second road area. So that's the plan for that. But then the road leaving this country, it's just 4 lanes. That's pretty much it, because they're not too fussed if, like, who's leaving. They're not too fussed about checking everything. They're kind of just like, okay, whatever, because there will be the border crossing once they get onto the island that I was talking about where it meets Al Samhara. So just keep that in mind as you see me develop all of this. And of course, what really makes this area is doing these lines everywhere. I don't know, there's just something about it. I think because for so long I was building all of these roads, and whenever you connected a segment, the road segment was kind of blank, and we were really lacking these little lines that connect up both road segments. So I think that's why I like doing it. We really needed this from the beginning, but I understand it might have been too hard for them to do, but thankfully we've got that in here now. And without those lines, I don't know if I really would have done another border crossing, because it takes so long to put down all the lines individually. But speaking of putting down lines individually, I do go through and plop down prop lines, because you can only do these dot line connections in certain areas on a segment. But I wanted to do actual lines that connect up from these little lines that I'm doing here and connect upwards onto that white stripy arrow part. So you can see there I've added all of those, because I think once you get to this point, you shouldn't really be crossing over lanes. You should kind of be set which lane you need to be in, and then you can't move. So then to justify that a little bit more, I put in posts everywhere so they can't change lanes. They're stuck there till they go through, they get checked, and then they go back out the other side. Once they're on the other side, I don't put any line markings or any posts or anything. They just have to find their way back into a certain lane, because I'm not too concerned. But for this lane, I want it all to be organized, and it looks a lot better that way. Over here you might be wondering, what am I doing? Well, this part right here, I wanted to designate a space for when the trucks are coming through, and let's say they want to check a truck a little bit more in depth. So instead of just leaving them on the road, they can pull them off into this little paved area here, this cement area, where they'll have areas just for the security people to go through, check it a bit more. Instead of having it just on the main road and holding up all of the traffic behind those trucks that are being inspected, they can do that to the side. And yeah, I just think it's a good idea. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is something that they do with trucks, but correct me if I'm wrong. And I wanted to put these little covered roof, what do you call this? Just a little covered area for the main part. I don't put that on the main road for the truck area unless they're on the cement areas. Just because in case there's a really high truck that needs to get through easier. I don't know. But yeah, the trucks they'll come over here. It won't actually work, so it's really purely just for looks. There won't be any actual road over here. But yeah, they can pull off from this road if they're guided over here, and they'll have to stop under these things, and that's where they'll pretty much just get all checked up. And then if they're all good, I add in a bit of space for them to merge back onto the main road. And to do all this, I just use these cones. I like using these because first of all, they're a different color, so it kind of livens up the look of the whole space, hence why I've used the red and white color there as well. And I use these cones to help guide them into the truck, this space right here, and also for them to go back out, so you can see right there. And also I put down a whole bunch of stop signs on the road. I put down arrows, put down slow speed signs, things like that. Now that we've pretty much done all of the traffic entering, we're going to work on the traffic that's leaving. So this little lane here, like I said, not too big because Samir is not too concerned about what happens when they leave. They're kind of like, okay, that's the other country's problem. So we're just going to do a simple 4-lane road, pretty much. They'll come up here. They'll slow down, of course. They'll do their quick checks, and then off they go. They'll zoom across the bridge, and then on the other side of the bridge, that's where there'll be a big border crossing with all of the other lanes as well. Like I said, we'll do that sometime whenever I get to building on that island. But for this video, we're not going to do it just because this one already took quite long enough. I could have just copy and pasted it, I suppose, but nah, we'll do it properly another time. So if you are going to build these, I think it's really important that you make sure you do all of the line connections, just because it makes it look a lot better, but also use the TMPE mod to align all of the lanes, so they can't do any last minute lane changes, because that's when it gets really messy. So make sure you go like this, make sure they're going to exactly where you need, and also you'll need to go through and adjust all of the, the types of vehicles that can go in certain lanes. So like I said, the left 4 lanes over there, that is all for trucks. So we'll have to go and ban every single other vehicle, pretty much just everything except for trucks. And then in the, well, there it is there. So just pretty much just select them all. And that, I'm pretty sure they don't override that at all. Then over here we get rid of all the trucks because we don't want them to go straight ahead. And then also, like I said, we have the left lane there, which is just for buses, so we ban all the other cars and trucks from using those. And that is pretty much it. So I'll give you guys a final look at it all. Like I said, there might be a few little things I need to adjust, like the speed limits, maybe a few lane crossings I forgot, but other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.